Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on marketing management, and we have been talking about the different models of marketing communications. And in this series of our lectures on promotion mix, I will be extending our discussion on the topic of marketing communications, wherein we have been talking about the way we have to plan. In the previous lecture of mine, I told you about identifying two key aspects of marketing communications or any communication. One is, who is my audience, and second is what response I want from my audience. If we are clear about that, we would plan all other aspects of communication in a proper manner, and they all would get aligned for the achievement of our ultimate goal, that is called marketing, that is called customer satisfaction. And the ultimate goal of marketer is to ensure the profit through customer satisfaction, and for that we have integrated marketing program which does include integrated marketing communications. So all our communication exercise need to be integrated. It should not go in different dimensions or in different directions. So there should not be any back and forth of the activities which we are having. We should be straight enough, we should be clear enough that this is what we wish to communicate, and this is the way we wish to implement our own communication exercises. So moving ahead, now I will be telling you about the micro model of consumer responses. Now this micro model of marketing communication, it actually concentrates on consumers' specific responses to communications. So the way they are going to respond to our specific communications, as I already elaborated to you in brief in the beginning of our discussion on this very topic, that yes, we have to understand that what is the response of customers to the different types of products involving differing degrees of involvement of ours as a customer. So suppose I am a customer and I am buying different types of products. One is involving, one is having the lowest involvement of mine, second is having the medium involvement, third is having the high level of involvement. So what would be my response to that communication? So of course we cannot have one size fit all approach model to be working here. It can't function, and in marketing it can't function anywhere. We have to understand that we have to change or customize our strategies according to the requirement of the customers. So my dear learners, this micro model is actually the combination of all communication models which we had discussed in the very initial lectures of mine on marketing communication. Now it's time for us to integrate all of them, that this is the way we have to respond. So I have tried to put it in a figure which is summarizing 4 classic response hierarchy here, and these 4 models are present. They are known to you, and you have already we had a discussion on this, which is having AIDA model and other 3 models which are present in front of you. I will be telling you about these models and their practical implications. I would not discuss these models here in this lecture because they have already been discussed in details. Now we have to actually combine all these 4 models, and I have to show you the practical aspect of it, the way it is being implemented. So these 4 models are basically giving you a reminder that how it is going to be how we are going to witness the response hierarchy models here, the way we are going to get the responses from our own audience. So all these models, they assume the buyer is going to travel through cognitive, affective and behavioral stages in that order. So if you take any of these 4 models, you would find that buyer is on a journey. They are actually on a journey. Suppose if I take example of AIDA model, attention, interest, desire and action. So this is actually, this can also be classified into 3 phases, starting from the cognitive, then affective, and then eventually it is called behavioral stage, in that order. Likewise for other models the same is applicable. So all these models, they are making an assumption that the buyer is going to travel through these 3 important stages in the given order. So if I talk about the first instance, the learn, feel, do, that I am learning, I am becoming aware of a particular information, then feeling and doing. This sequence is appropriate when the audience has high involvement with the product. Suppose if my customer is going to buy a durable product, then the sequence would be learn, feel and do. this sequence is going to be the most appropriate when your audience is dealing with the high involvement product, the product category perceived to have high differentiation. For instance, if I talk about buying a house for yourself, suppose if I am going to buy a property, a house property for myself, or I'm willing to buy a car for myself, that will of course involve the high degree of involvement from my side as a customer. So I'm going to have the great level of involvement when I'm going to buy an automobile product, say durable one, or a house property. In most of the cases where we are having the purchase, we are dealing with the durable category of products, the involvement is going to be high, cause the cost which is going to be incurred, which is going to be paid by the customer, is also high. So in a way you can assert it like this, that when the cost of that particular product is very high, then of course customer is going to get involved to a greater extent in such kind of purchases. So all high involvement goods, they are involving the high level of investment. You can take it in that spirit also, in that way also. So here what sequence works is learn, feel and do. Customer would first collect all the information, try to learn about the brand, about the product they are offering, its after sales services, its legality, and then they would try to have a feel, that is called the demonstration, and eventually they would move towards the decision, that is called purchase decision. So this learn, feel, do sequence is appropriate for high involvement goods, or you can summarize it like this, that they are applicable for the durable category of products. Now to exemplify the alternative sequences, there is another sequence called do, feel and learn. Now it is opposite to what we had discussed previously. Do, feel and learn. It is relevant when the audience is having the high involvement, but there is a change, there is a slight change into that. They perceive little or no differentiation within the product category. For instance, airline tickets or personal computers. If I am taking an example of airline tickets or personal computers, there this sequence can be do, feel and learn. That without traveling I cannot have without traveling I can't have that feel, and I can't have that learning. And here comes the role of word of mouth publicity. I can share with you the example of a new airline with which I had recently traveled. Before booking a ticket, I was trying to find anyone who has had the experience of traveling in the same with the same airline, the flight which is being offered by the same airline. And then later on, after the recommendation of some of my acquaintances, although I could not find many having experience of the same airline, the flight from the same airline, I went for having this sequence of do, feel and learn. So it is applicable, very much applicable for the high involvement, but when there is when we perceive little or no differentiation within the product category, for instance airline or personal computers, this can be done. So we cannot say that for all durable products or for all high involvement purchases, customers are having the learn, feel and do sequence. They can also have opposite, reverse of this do, feel and learn, as I exemplified with the case of airlines tickets, which I had recently availed of. And then I realized that yes, I should convey this information, I should pass on this information to my friends and acquaintances, that yes, this is also an airline service provider which is offering a good service or good services, or they are at par with the other ones. So here comes the role of do, feel and learn sequence. A third sequence is learn, do and feel. So we are having learn, do and feel. So imagine the components are the same. You must be realizing we have three components, learn, do and feel here, and they are actually changing. We first had learn, feel and do, then we are having learn, do and feel. Second one, the alternative one which I had recently discussed, it was actually do, feel and learn. So they can be interchanged, their placing, their positioning can change depending upon the type of product you are dealing with, type of product you are going to buy. Suppose if I talk about the purchase of a packet of salt or batteries, suppose if I have to buy batteries for my inverter or for my car or for my motorbike, or I am going to buy a salt. So there can be a sequence of learn, do and feel. It is relevant when the audience has low involvement and they perceive little differentiation. Suppose if I am going to buy salt, then I would try to first learn that this is being marketed or manufactured by which company. I can buy it and then have a feel, and accordingly I can revise my decision little later, that in the next purchase I would decide whether to stay loyal to the same brand or we need to change, or I should go for the same exercise of learning, doing and feeling. So let us learn, do and feel, and this is the way, my dear learners, every customer is planning his or her own purchases without even understanding that we are doing this much of analysis, we are being so much analytical, we are being so much logical. So remember, when customer is paying some money, then of course they are very much conscious about the way they are, the kind of investment they are making. So depending upon the size of investment, of course their involvement may differ, but in any case they are going to follow the same components, learn, do and feel. So their placing can be different, but yes, learn, do and feel would always remain with the process, with the way customers are going to buy the product. So by choosing the right sequence, the marketers, what they can do a better job of planning communication. If I am dealing with the durable products, then of course I should plan my sequence in the same manner, so that the customer, when the customer is trying to learn about the brand, the information is available. The customer is willing to have a feel of a product, then of course the demo need to be available, the demonstration need to be given. Then only you would be able to bring the customer to the level of decision making, that is, they have to buy. So if your learning and doing is positioned in a learning as feeling is positioned or planned in a proper manner, then of course nothing can stop customers from doing, that is called the favorable response for us. As I told you at the very outset, that there are two important components in communication audit. One is to whom I wish to communicate, and second is what response do I need to get. So my response, the expected response, and the audience to whom I wish to communicate, I should have clarity on both of them, and once it is done, then we can decide the sequence of learn, do and feel according to the type of product we are dealing with. That if my customer is willing to learn about the brand, the positive learning need to be given. If my customer is willing to have a feel of the product, then of course that feel need to be available in a proper manner. That is called, suppose if it is a durable product, then of course there has to be a significant role of visual merchandising, there has to be a significant role of demonstration. So for all these discussions, I had referred to different sources which are here in front of you. It is by E.K. Strong, The Psychology of Selling. It was by McGraw-Hill in 1925, Robert J. Levitch and Gary A. Stainer. There is a model of predictive measurements of advertising effectiveness. It was published in Journal of Marketing. That paper is also being consulted here for this very lecture of mine. And then we also had a consultation of Everett M. Rogers' diffusion of innovation model, which is published in different places, and we could find it at different from different sources. So all of them, they are included, and we duly acknowledge all these publications for this very part of my lectures on marketing communication. Now the question comes that what is there in an ideal ad campaign, that we had already discussed, that what is there into an ideal ad campaign, and now I would move towards the next aspect of it, that how to develop effective communications. So there are 8 steps, it's a complete process, step by step. So to summarize them, I can say that there are 8 steps in developing effective communications, and we are going to begin with the basics one and then to the advanced. So starting from the first step to the 8th step, we will be able to understand that how to develop an effective communication. So all steps are equally important. The first one is we have to identify the target audience, which I have been referring to you time and again, that yes, we have to decide that who exactly is my target audience, what is the right number which I need to dial. It is just like that I need to, suppose I am willing to talk to you, so I should have your number. So unless I know that number, I cannot talk to you. So first we have to identify the target audience, second is we have to set the communication objectives. I would be discussing all these points in detail in due course of my discussion on the topic. Setting the communication objectives, then we will talk about designing the communications, we would also talk about selecting the communication channels, and then establishing the total marketing communication budget. That would be the next step for this. So all these steps, my dear learners, they are supposed to be combined together to achieve our goals. So starting with the step 1, we have to identify the target audience, and this is the beginning of our process. We must start with a clear target audience in mind. Potential buyers of the company's products, current users, deciders or influencers, as well as the individual groups, particular publics or the general public, they all can be combined together to form our own target audience. That, see, my target audience will not only be the current users, but also the influencers, the deciders, the individual groups, the particular public or the general public. So we will not only talk to our existing customers, but we will also look for the potential customers, because if we don't do that, then of course my customer base is not going to increase, and without increasing customer base we can't grow. So we have to first identify our target audience, and while doing so, the target audience is is a critical influence on communicators' decisions about what to say, how, when, where and to whom. So what to say, how to say, when, where and to whom I need to communicate, this all is going to be decided by step 1. So at the very step 1, that is the first step, you would be able to decide who is my target audience and what I should communicate, how to communicate, when, where and to whom I need to communicate. Everything is decided, which means half of your work is done at the step 1 only, if I am aware of who is my target audience. So deciding target audience is very crucial exercise, and that need to be done in a very meticulous manner by any marketer. If you are really willing to have proper implementation of marketing communication, then this step is very crucial for you. You have to identify who is my target audience, and once you have decided, the second step is we are going to set the second aspect of it. What response do I need to get from my target audience? And for that I should set the communication objectives. What are my goals? So we have to set the communication objectives, that this is going to be my communication objective. What is my communication objective? That we need to understand. So my dear learners, when we are talking about setting the communication objectives, there can be a new to the world product, what we call as the new product. For instance, electric cars can be considered as a new product, or we can talk about the air purifiers, which at some point of time they were regarded as new to the world products. Inverters, when they came in, when they launched initially, they were new to the world product, although nowadays they are no more new to the world product. So a new to the world product, for instance, if I talk about electric cars in India, they would always begin with the communication objective of establishing category need. So if I am going to deal with any new to the world product, then of course I would start with the communication objective of establishment of category need. Now you need to understand what this category need is all about, what exactly in this category we need, and accordingly we would be able to build the brand awareness. Since I have taken the example of electric cars, we have to decide that in that category what people want. First one is the eco-friendly attitude of the customer. The second one is the cost effectiveness. So that need, we have to decide that why do we need electric cars. Since it is a new to the world product, the objective need to be defined, and then we would within this we would move towards the next step, that is called building brand awareness. So we have to foster the consumer's ability to recognize or recall the brand in a proper manner to make a purchase, that when the similar need arises, whether the customer is able to recall our name or not. And that would only happen when once you had communicated about your intention, about your communication objective, and accordingly the customer would respond to. So, in this very process of building brand awareness, we should help consumers in evaluating the brand's perceived ability to meet a currently relevant need. That we need to take care of our environment, and for that we are helping customers to evaluate our own perceived ability to meet this particular requirement, whether we will be able uh, to to achieve that goal or not, whether you as a customer after buying our product would be able to achieve your goals or not. So, this target must be we should have the same target, we should have the similar target. Suppose if I am having a different target and my customers or potential customers are having a different target, then of course we would move in different directions. So, we have to first decide that yes, we both are going in the same direction, we should be on the same page. So, we have to help consumers in evaluating our own perceived ability to meet a currently relevant need, and that is called building brand attitude. And building brand attitude means the way they are reacting to the name of our brand. Suppose if they are having a requirement of an eco-friendly product from the automobile industry, and once they are aware of our own brand, then when the need arises, when they have to take a decision, they should have a proper reaction, they should have a positive reaction to our name. That is called building brand attitude. So, relevant brand needs may have two different types of orientations. It can be negatively oriented, it can be positively oriented. I can give you an example here, that this negative orientation and positive orientation, they are affected by the type of product also. You can't have a negative orientation for say food items, you can't have that negative orientation. But suppose if I am talking about purchase of a car that is eco-friendly car, then of course electric car, then of course there can be a negative orientation. It can be a problem removal, it can be problem avoidance, it can be incomplete satisfaction, it can be normal depletion. Or suppose if we talk about the positive orientation, it can be sensory gratification, it can be intellectual stimulation, it can be social approval. So, there can be two different types of orientation when we are defining the relevant brand needs. So, it can be negatively oriented or it can be positively oriented. Now, this decision has to be taken by you as a marketer, that whether I am going to go ahead with a negatively oriented pitching, or I am going to have a positively oriented brand need identification. So, we have to decide that whether I am going to have which type of orientation. For instance, suppose if I talk about the household cleaning products, they often go with the orientation of negativity. They are using problem solution, that there is a problem, and for that, in response to that problem, we have a solution for that. So, household cleaning products, they often use problem solution. Food products, if we talk about, on the other hand, they never use rarely they use negative orientation, they are using positive orientation, that is called sensory oriented ads, which is emphasizing the appetite appeal. They rarely use negative orientation because the item, this food product belongs to that eating category, and they are using sensory oriented ads here to emphasize the appetite appeal. So, I am just giving an example from the existing advertisements, the way marketers are planning their own activities. So, we have to understand that there is an impact of our own orientation, the need orientation on brand purchase intention. So, there is an influence of on brand purchase intention. So, moving consumers to decide to purchase the brand or take purchase related actions, this is what is the goal here. We are influencing brand purchase intention here, and promotional offers, like for instance I am offering some coupons or discounts or 2 for 1 deal, that is going to do what? They are encouraging consumers to make a mental commitment to buy, that see, because of this discount or offer I am going to buy. But there is a point here also, many consumers do not have an expressed category need, they do not have that expressed category need, or may not be in the market when they are exposed to an ad. So, we have to understand that they are very unlikely to form buy intentions. So, we should not get demotivated with this, that customers are not responding. There might be a situation that the time at which you are pitching your particular advertisement, the customers are not in that stage, or they are not going through that advertisement. There is a very relevant information which is being floated in different publications and books, that in any given book only about 20% of adults may be planning to buy detergent, and only 2% to buy a carpet cleaner, and about 0.25% to buy a car. So, you have to understand the size of the market, and accordingly your response will come. So, if the size of the market is 0.25% customers who are willing to buy a car, then of course, the response will come from that mass only. So, you have to design your communications accordingly. So, my dear learners, in this way I had discussed some of the components of planning your communications efficiently and effectively, and the remaining part of these discussions I would be deliberating with you in the next lecture of mine. I hope you must have understood the way we have to plan our communications to ensure the effective and efficient market communications. Thank you so much.